Namaste. This is Britt Anders once again. I apologize for the echoey and low quality of the sound. I was unaware that it was so tinny and hollow. However, we deal with what we have, and the information is more important than how it's transmitted. So, based on that, I said that we were going to work on, or I was going to talk about the group class situation. Now, what happens in a group class is there's usually one instructor, sometimes two, and a lot of students. And the instructor has to concentrate on the medium of the class so that the most people are going to get the information. So if you are a faster than average learner, then the class will seem like it's going slow. If you are a slower than average learner, then it will seem as though the class is going fast. Now, whether you're faster or slower really has nothing to do with whether or not you can dance. What it has to do with is how well you are going to learn the material. I have found that those who take longer to learn the skill of dancing remember it and become much more accurate dancers. And the reason why is because they have to work at it. For those who have an aptitude for dancing and they just fly through it, they generally get a little sloppy in their dancing. Not always, but quite frequently. Anyway, within the group class, the things to concentrate on. If you're a follow, I highly recommend that you don't bother trying to learn the pattern other than just being able to kind of, in general, get through it. The reason why I suggest that you don't work too hard on learning the pattern is a pattern is designed for the lead. Okay, it's not designed for the follow. What's going to happen in a pattern is if you learn a bunch of patterns, then you're only going to be able to dance with those people who know those patterns. Instead, concentrate on the techniques that are involved within a pattern. For instance, are you going to be doing a spiral, or in other words, a type of turn? Are you going to be, is it an unusual new lead, or are you going to wind up having to twist your arm around behind you and turn around like that? You know, these are various techniques. Basically, in a group class, for a follow, it's important to know that this can happen within the context of a dance, rather than, I know that pattern, okay? Basically, in my experience, to bring someone up in the levels of dance, I have to break them of the habit of learning the patterns. When following, you teach your you teach your leads how to treat you, how to lead you. If you create tension in your arm, it's going to create tension in them. If you require a heavy lead to get you to go across the floor, then you're teaching them that they have to handle you roughly. If you are easy to move, if you allow yourself to be easy to move, then you're teaching your partner that he doesn't have to wrench your shoulder out of socket to get you to do an underarm turn. Right? So it's largely up to you. The way men learn to lead is the same way that we learn how to use a remote control. We take our remote control and we go, let's see, what does this button do? What does that button do? And so we press the button and we look to see what's happening. Right? When we find the button that gets it, that does what we want it to do, we now know that this is the button we're going to keep on using it. Well, the same thing's true with, say, like an underarm turn. If an underarm turn is led like that, but if in order to get you to do an underarm turn, I have to go, yeah! And I moved too fast, but it was a really heavy, hard swing that came around this way. If that's what I have to do to get you to do an underarm turn, then from now on I'm going to think, well, that's what's necessary to get you to do an underarm turn, and so that's the way I will lead my underarm turns. So follows you training your partners. Now, in a group class situation, you'll have the opportunity to dance with a lot of different leads. So that's what I suggest that you concentrate on as a follow, is improving your leading or your following capabilities. And any styling techniques that are taught. You know, when you hold your hand out, do you hold it out like so, or do you hold it like this? And do you go like this, or just various things like that. You concentrate on the techniques. Let the patterns go. They don't concern you. Leads, when you're in a group class situation, concentrate on the pattern and on the following, okay, or excuse me, the leading. Those are the only two things that are really required. You can take it back to your private instructor and let him or her help you to flesh it out. But you can't do anything without the pattern, and you also can't do anything without the lead, because you've got to be able to lead your partner, and you've got to be able to know where you're going. And those are the two basic things in a group class. Unless, of course, the group class is a technique class or something of that nature, in which case you learn whatever they're teaching. Now, another aspect about group classes is if you come away from a group class with one new thing, then you have paid for the group class. All you need is one thing that you can use on a daily basis, or excuse me, whenever you go dancing. If you happen to learn two things, well, hey, you got a bonus. If you learn everything that they've taught, it's amazing. Because, like I say, dance teachers teach to the medium of the class. It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant and they feed you, you buy your food, and you know that you can eat a portion this big, and they give you a portion that big. And so now you got food for 2 or 3 days. Well, the reason why they do that is because some people, that's their normal portion. And if they order a meal that only has that much, they're going to feel cheated. So it's much easier to overserve than it is to underserve. And if you overserve, you're going to get more satisfied customers. Well, in a group class, if I overserve by teaching 10 patterns, well, some people in the group might get 6 of them, but they'll feel like they got a lot because there's 10 patterns. And so they've been introduced to 10 patterns. But the thing is once they get it out into the world, they can't dance those patterns. And so it's very important, leads, to just concentrate on one pattern. Get one pattern. If you get that one down, then go ahead and get a second one. I recommend that you don't try for more than maybe 3, unless you just have an incredible aptitude for dance. And don't lie to yourself. In either direction. Don't say, I can't do this, because you can. I have absolute faith in that. You can dance. Unless you're paralyzed from the neck down, you can dance. It is simple as that, and I have no doubts. I've seen it way too many times. But at the same time, don't think you're a genius in dance if you have to struggle to learn things, because you can become a world champion dancer one step at a time, as long as you concentrate on one step at a time. But if you try and become a world champion dancer all at once, it's not going to happen. So, to reiterate, when you go to a group class, and by the way, most group classes that I've seen, there's a couple of different types of group classes. You have what's known as a workshop, you have a group class, and you have an intensive. And in my experience, a group class is generally a part of a series of lessons. It's like every week we run like 4 lessons on foxtrot, and then 4 lessons on waltz, and then 4 lessons on, you get the idea. A workshop is a one-time deal. I'm going to go today, and I'm going to work on my arm styling. I'm going to work on my balance. I'm going to work on the timing, or something like that. And then an intensive is a series of workshops that are designed to cram a lot of information about one particular dance or one particular type of movement. For instance, this weekend I'm going to be doing a West Coast intensive, which is 6 hours, 4 lessons, and each one has to do with West Coast swing. So anyway, I hope this helps, and I hope this clarifies. And my next video will be equally informative, I hope. And I hope you get something from this. May you have an absolutely fabulous day, and I'll see you on the dance floor. Namaste.